everyone. My name is Rachel Thompson, and I'm here today to talk about the Ninth Amendment. A relationship between the Ninth Amendment and Tenth Amendment is commonly understood. A contemporary presumption exists that the Ninth Amendment concerns rights, while the Tenth Amendment concerns power. Coupled with the Tenth Amendment, the Ninth Amendment is intended to protect individual rights while also ensuring responsibility and power is shared with the states in the system of federalism. However, when James Madison drafted the Ninth Amendment, he was hoping to accomplish the promise he had made to his own state convention. Madison's draft of the Ninth Amendment originally included a rule of interpretation to expressly limit loose construction in regard to constitutional interpretation and preserving the retained rights of the people. Construction of federal power was eliminated from the final draft, and the Virginia General Assembly believed Congress was dismissing the demands posed by the states. Actually, when James Madison originally drafted the Bill of Rights, the ideas from the amendment were inspired by the ideas from the state conventions. Former Virginia Governor Edmund Randolph rallied anti-federalists to delay ratification of the Bill of Rights for 2 years while the language of the amendment was disputed to better reflect the sentiments of the state convention. The 10th Amendment suggests that all powers not delegated or prohibited by the Constitution are reserved for the states in the system of federalism. Anti-federalists and state governments had wanted the assurance that the federal government would only be able to exercise enumerated powers delegated by the Constitution. Over the course of more than 2 centuries since this original intention, the 10th Amendment has been interpreted more broadly, which can be argued diminishes its meaning. If the 10th Amendment is interpreted expansively, then it undermines the intention of state ratifying conventions who insisted upon adding a rule of construction to ensure stricter judicial interpretation of the Constitution and the limited powers of the federal government. According to James Madison, the Ninth Amendment was intended to guard against a latitude of interpretation, while the 10th Amendment excluded every source of power not within the Constitution itself. In disputing the proposed Bank of the United States, Madison cited the Ninth and 10th Amendments to explain that the Constitution had forbidden a loose constructionist interpretation of the Constitution. Since the late 18th century, debates have continued about the other rights retained by the people protected by the Ninth Amendment. Its intention to avert a constitutional interpretation that might limit rights retained by the people. The people, as a phrase, as is used in the Bill of Rights and in the preamble to the Constitution, has been interpreted by experts to signify popular sovereignty within the system of federalism. This relates to social contract theory and the roots of American democracy in the revolutionary ideas of the Founding Fathers. This idea that people maintain an authority to challenge tyranny and may alter or abolish a system of government. Both the Ninth and 10th Amendments close with this expression, which further demonstrates a relationship between the purposes of these 2 amendments. It has been understood that the Ninth Amendment was rarely to never relevant in judicial discourse until Justice Arthur Goldberg addressed this amendment in the 1965 case Griswold v. Connecticut. However, the Ninth Amendment has remained consequential throughout American history, from consideration of exclusive versus concurrent federal power, the authority of the federal government to regulate slavery, the right of the states to secede from the Union, the constitutionality of the New Deal, and the adoption and implications of the 14th Amendment. The ambiguity of the language of the Ninth Amendment leaves unanswered questions about which rights it seeks to protect and the extent to which it should perpetuate constitutional limitations for federal authority. Furthermore, it suggests that the order and rules imposed by the Constitution can be challenged by the people in the midst of social conflict as is deemed by the people. The Ninth Amendment, perhaps more than any other document, illustrates that clear questions about the Constitution cannot completely be resolved with simple or clear answers, and that even James Madison himself, father of the Constitution, who wrote and championed the Constitution more than anyone else, was perhaps comfortable with this ambiguity. Thanks for watching.